Hello everyone, my name's Radu.
And I'm Mandy Kovacs.
2016 is finally coming to a close, and Mandy, you know what that means.
Time for our list of top stories of 2016.
That's right. This week on the Weekly Update, we're switching it up and recapping the top stories from this year.
Between the FBI versus Apple, Donald Trump and exploding hardware, the tech industry in 2016 has been an interesting year to say the least.
With that huge understatement out of the way, welcome to IT World Canada's Weekly Update. We would be remiss if we didn't include acquisitions on this list. Obviously, we won't be recapping every single acquisition here. There are just too many, but we'll hit all the big ones. That being said, Mandy, how about you kick things off?
Sure thing, Alex. First, we have the Microsoft acquisition of LinkedIn for $26.2 billion. Microsoft plans on integrating Office 365 in its dynamic CRM software, but will largely leave LinkedIn to its own devices. LinkedIn CEO Jeff Weiner will keep his position and report directly to Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella.
Primarily on-prem software provider Oracle made the jump to the cloud this year by picking up cloud vendor NetSuite for $9.3 billion. Oracle has often been the antithesis to Salesforce's cloud evangelism, but this acquisition makes them an immediate player in the cloud space.
And less than a year after the HP-HPE split, HPE continued to shed weight when it sold its enterprise services unit to CSC, creating an IT services behemoth worth $26 billion in annual revenue.
And you've probably heard a lot about the H&A and Ingram Micro deal this year, which finally closed just this month on December 6th for $6 billion. With the deal came a newly formed board, as well as senior leadership changes.
Speaking of Ingram, Tech Data announced that it will be completing a blockbuster deal to acquire Avnet's technology solutions business. This will give Tech Data a presence in Asia Pacific, making it a global corporation.
And then we have the big one. Technically, this deal was announced in 2015, but I'm making an exception here since it wasn't until this year that the deal closed, and that the newly formed Dell EMC began making waves in the industry. Dell acquired EMC for an astonishing $67 billion, the largest ever in terms of dollar value for the IT industry.
And those aren't even all of the big deals made this year. Salesforce acquired Demandware for $2.8 billion, and Symantec purchased Blue Coat Systems for $4.5 billion.
And we can't forget Broadcom's purchase of Brocade for $5.9 billion.
The point being, there were a lot of important acquisitions this year, good for number 5 in our rankings. Whether it was a decision to ditch a pretty popular feature on the newest iPhone,
or actual exploding smartphones,
2016 has seen tech companies we expect to hit the mark every year take a few missteps.
Apple's decision to launch the iPhone 7 without a headphone jack sent shockwaves around the tech world in September.
And whether you call it bravery, hubris, or even plain stupidity, Apple's determination to shape the future has been met with controversy. This wasn't helped by the delay that pushed the release of Apple's new wireless AirPods to early December.
Those AirPods are $159, plus an additional $69 per pod whenever you need to replace a lost one, and they don't offer much better quality than the regular headphones that come with every iPhone. Count me in the category that thinks this was an arrogant move that didn't pan out. Wired headphones are still king, and ditching that feature for seemingly no real reason other than to proclaim innovation has left the door open for Samsung and Google.
And if the door was open for Samsung, they never actually stepped through it. Samsung has had its own problems this year, with the Galaxy Note 7 began exploding, causing a massive global recall. Even replacements with safer batteries started catching on fire, forcing Samsung to discontinue the phone entirely.
Both incidents have left a lasting impression with consumers. So when the iPhone 7s and Galaxy Note 8 inevitably launch in 2017, we'll have to see how damaging those events truly were to both brands. Security has never been more important, and 2016 proved that the tech industry still has a ways to go in that department.
Large-scale data breaches have almost become the norm, especially over the last half of 2016.
In September, Yahoo made history when they revealed a 500 million data breach from 2014 that they were sitting on, only to be topped by themselves just a few weeks ago with a 1 billion account hack from 2013.
Yahoo has made the headlines the last few months, but it was definitely not the only company hacked this year. The Friend Finder Networks hack in October put the Ashley Madison hack to shame, and the majority of North American organizations now assume that their IT security will be compromised at some point.
In Kaspersky's 2016 security report, it stated that almost half of North American companies with 1,000 or more employees suffered from 4 or more data breaches in the last year. And you heard me right, that wasn't just one data breach, but 4.
And we haven't even mentioned WikiLeaks yet, and the government hacks that became mainstream throughout most of the US election campaign.
Hillary Clinton's hacked emails became the story of the election, and it wasn't just her email servers that were hacked in the first place.
The DNC was hacked, the RNC was hacked, and these large-scale hacks were weaponized by the opposition to attack political opponents throughout the election.
One lesson can be learned, and pay attention because it's an important one, and some might even think an obvious one. Security is important, and it may be more important than any other aspect of business, including some innovation. Hacks like these have continuously proven to destroy trust with customers, and that will only continue to ramp up if security doesn't increase.
The outcomes of the US elections inevitably affect the rest of the world, and that is especially true with Donald Trump's recent victory.
Whether it be the rise of fake news and what that means to the media and journalism as a whole, or his policies on free trade and the concept of open borders, the president-elect has been considerably tied to the tech industry.
Polling has also come under fire for the second time this year, with polls in important battleground states like Ohio, Wisconsin, and Michigan proving to be wildly inaccurate. Considering many businesses gather research through similar methods, it is definitely time to start looking at how they will be conducted in the future.
Of huge concern to the tech industry is how Trump's victory will affect the hiring process globally, particularly through H-1B visas for highly skilled talent. Stronger borders don't bode well for tech companies in the US who rely so heavily on picking up that global talent to succeed.
But that may be good news for our country. Canada's government continues to make moves to open up our borders for highly skilled talent, and that can make Canada a more appetizing country to set up shop in.
But all we can do is hypothesize. There are a lot of questions to ask about this presidency, and we would need a time machine to answer them.
For now, we know one thing to be true. On January 20th, Donald J. Trump will become the 45th president of the United States. And the scary thought is that everything coming after this is still up in the air.
Trump may be the news on everyone's mind, but let's not forget the battle between Apple and the FBI at the beginning of this year.
It all began when the FBI served the tech giant with a court order to create custom software to unlock the iPhone 5C of the San Bernardino shooter who killed 14 and injured 22 last December.
Apple publicly refused, saying that it would set an ugly precedent for extracting data.
That started a 2-month-long battle between the organizations, with executives all across the tech industry choosing sides.
CEOs from Google, Twitter, and Facebook threw their support behind Apple to varying degrees, and the infamous John McAfee himself denounced the move by the government, offering to hack the phone so Apple wouldn't have to.
Surprisingly, while Microsoft remained silent on the issue, Bill Gates himself came out on the side of the FBI, claiming it is similar to when government agencies ask phone companies for information.
Eventually, the FBI managed to hack into the phone without Apple's help, which both sides called a victory. The FBI got the information it wanted, and Apple didn't have to help, so both sides went home happy.
Despite the battle coming to a close in late March, this won't be the last time we hear about this war, something Apple is quite well aware of and committed to fighting in the future.
Google CEO Sundar Pichai put it best. Forcing companies to enable hacking could compromise users' privacy. We know that law enforcement agencies and intelligence agencies face significant challenges in protecting the public against crime and terrorism. We build secure products to keep information safe, and we give law enforcement access to data based on valid legal orders. But that's wholly different than requiring companies to enable hacking of customer devices and data.
Imagine if Apple had hacked the phone for the FBI with no questions asked. That's a scary thought for many in the tech industry, and considering who will be leading the US government in the future, I can say that personally, I'm glad that the tech industry will stand up to the government in cases like this.
Agreed. And that's all the time we have for today. Did you agree with our top 5? What events would have made your list instead? Be sure to let us know in the comments below and check out the links in the description for more on each topic. Thanks for watching IT World Canada's weekly update. As always, I'm Alex Radu.
And I'm Mandy Kovacs. Have a happy holidays.